to roll up the windows.
No, I don't think so. So, here are some writings that I have been contemplating over the years. When we are born into this world, we are empty. Then we get taught by mom, dad, teacher, preacher, or authority how the world works and how it operates. A lot of their ideas and ways of looking at the world have been passed down by their parents and from their parents. But if you don't have a guide, your ego is most likely the guide you're using right now, repeating or recording the words said. The recognition of the voice in the head is the ego, or the analytical mind, thinking mind. When you renounce that voice and stop paying attention to it, life becomes more free and less caught up in the stories of the past and future. One aspect that really helps bring this about is practicing stillness inside your being, because the ego is always trying to be active and do things because it thinks that there's something in the world that will make it happy. The best thing to find fulfillment is to know thyself. And I don't mean who you think you are in the world, but more what do you feel like and how you can make that better. Life is impermanent. Everything is in a state of change, such as this moment is now the next in a continuous flow. When you practice mindfulness, it allows you to develop non-judgmental awareness. What is mindfulness? It is paying attention to what is happening in your body right now, or whatever is in front of you without being involved in it. Just watching everything, observing. Say you're watching a movie and all the actors on the screen are performing their parts, and you watching the movie is doing your part by watching and paying attention to whatever is on your screen with non-attached awareness. It allows for free choice, which is very open. The thinking mind or intellect is creating the sense of self, using thoughts. When you think thoughts of I am love, I am courage, I am willing, they add for a more expansive type of consciousness. When you think I'm not it, I'm no good, or I can't, then reality is going to reflect that back to you through your consciousness or inner mode of awareness. Try walking meditation, going on walks and paying attention to everything that's inside the body. Intellectualism is when we give ourselves to thought. We are controlled by astral beings. I was dreaming about heaven, wishing it would save me from the human struggle. But when I decided to finally grow up, I realized it's always been me, the one deciding to live my life in the way I want. I didn't realize I was still caught in the dream. Once I started to think about other people, I woke up to the fact that I am not alone. And even when I think there is no one around to support me, you always show up as a friend or someone just looking out. I never would have thought if I studied the people around me, I would end up where I dream about. I like that one. I have decided to close my eyes and write when the internal feels pushed to. There is one life among the many. Sinking into the silence, the internal sound begins. Feeling my way through the darkness, I will end up where my heart is. Whenever I let the shadows shadows escape from the cave, I am here to say, there is one life and you must live it right, never letting yourself out of sight. You might stay up at night. I am one with the representation of the successful life that I consciously create for myself and others. By making definite choices with my actions, I am able to see a clear plan that can help me move forward. I must turn and face the shadows I call yesterday and stop running from what I thought I was, and see all the possibilities that are there before me. By going with the way of the internal sound is where I can be really found. The mind is only one thought away from salvation today. The silence is in a radiance, but it doesn't sound silent. It has a ping to it that is elongated. By focusing on that noise, it cuts out the confusion and allows for stillness. God is the power of speech. When we create using truthful words, we create with God. We are the same as the words we speak. Sensing out the phenomenon, I start to see I can't hold on for very long. Becoming impatient, now I am impaired, putting my hands above my head, asking you to save me from feeling lazy. Things keep becoming hazy when I don't put in the work. I sit back to connect to the spirit. As I relax, I start to hear it. We need to learn how to use words truthfully and honestly. This creates for harmonious relationships. When we put labels on people, this gives them a context that is associated with words. Committing to the silence, number 2. By focusing our attention on the breath, we can control breathing by noticing it, or we can let it be controlled by not noticing the breath. When we focus the energy behind the breath, we find the internal sound. By laying down all that I think about life and all that I feel about life, I am able to see the world through an unfiltered lens. When I have an experience in the world, I group together categories and ideas to create concepts. I am letting go and becoming the more. We all can become more than what we think we are. I am letting the words come to my being. I am taking my time. There is a positive and negative energy in the world, and this is what creates the objectified feeling of good and evil. I have a lot of journals that hold my ideas. To me, writing is the female expression of order. What I mean by that is that the soul is a mode of expression that can be grand or subtle, but is compassionate with its care. When one observes themselves, they can tell that one is controlled by feeling and impulses of animal instinct. Except when I am writing with a pen or pencil, there is a certain mechanical movement that comes with writing that feels eloquent, quite caring. If one takes their time to explore the body, there are a lot of sensations that go unnoticed. But when one really pays attention to it, it is a thing filled with wonder. See, it's funny because I think that I know a lot about reality. Or I think that I know a lot about human experience. But if I'm honest, I can admit that I don't really know what it is that I want from here. I want peace, and so I shall have that, letting the rhythm of the breath to carry me to the next sensation. Every soul emits a frequency. This happens when we are in a relaxed state, and we can receive information about anything we think about it if our consciousness has the awareness of the unmanifest. What is the unmanifest? Everything that wants to come into existence. How do we find that? Feel your way to it. By feeling through things, you unlock doors that you didn't know about. Feel the way through life to really awaken the mind. Let go of everything and see what happens. My mind being young, I am arrogant to delusion and trickery, being forced to have blind faith in those around me, rather in their ideas and feelings about the world. You see, I'm just a kid, and I haven't been taught to believe and I have been taught to believe what others tell me because I don't really know how or what to think about the world. So I trust the ideas of the people around me and I take them as my own. Then I experience life. I now have all the thoughts, feelings, and opinions that went in with correlating in the development of that person's consciousness, but in me. And remember, I take them somewhat blindly, somewhere with faith. As I matured and grew up a little bit, I realized I have to learn for my own sake in order to be happy. So I always had this feeling, probably from my childhood, that I was under the real world, something beneath it. Whenever I started to observe my feeling states, I realized I was below the real world because I held hate in my heart. So I stopped hating and disliking and resisting. I started to realize my worth as the divine Son of God that loves humanity completely, because one cannot hate and truly understand God. So understand each other when we truly do not know the evil in us, or understand each other when we truly do not know the evil in us. Everything is something. I used to believe that since we come from nothing, supposedly that we are nothing. We come from somewhere, just not here. I mean, in a certain sense we come from here because we are born into this life. We grow up learning from the behaviors of other people. We are told certain things about life, like what is possible, what is capable, how we're possible, how we're capable, and we are also told about the world and the things in it. We are told how this person good, how this one bad, this action good, this bad, and our little mind is molded with a way of thinking about the world that is called conditioning. We are told by anyone of authority what the rules or circumstances are. Every minute, I must find myself in God through perseverance. It's the multiple perfect unity. Elohim, God and Goddess. 3 parts, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Mineral, plant, animal. Intellectual, motor brain. Emotional brain, intellectual brain. Shiva, Shakti, Jesus, Mary, serpents. Religion is unity. Gnosis is the Greek knowledge. Dath is Hebrew, which is knowledge. The tree of knowledge, the 2 trees, Kabbalah and Tantra. Judaism and Jacob's Ladder, the Bible. I think, therefore I am, one with existence, always to be found near, under or above what you call me. For I can't think if you're not present, as I make up you to equal a we. We as spirit come as one, but go at the many. Not to realize this is ourself. So be kind to those that equal a we. Because we focus on the us, we can find a true self, and me and you can equal the us for ourselves. I'm going to read that again. I think, therefore I am, one with existence, always to be found near, under or above what you call me. For I can't think if you're not present, as I make up you to equal a we. We as spirit come as one, but go at the many. Not to realize this is ourself. So be kind to those that equal a we. Because as we focus on us, then we can find our true selves, as me and you to equal the us of ourselves. 1:30:24. When I was growing up, there were a lot of moments of uncertainty. I never felt truly ready to do anything I wanted. I mean, sometimes when I was excited, but I usually had fear with my uncertain feelings. So this made it hard to understand these feelings together. Mineral, plant, animal, earth, fire, water, air, Akash. When we are growing up, God breathes the breath of life into our essence. As the essence evolves, it perceives its own separateness from God. This is the ego, the I. When we are separate from God, we see the life as a fight and a struggle against God for our karma. The ego blames God for its struggle. In experience, we have air. Our breath connects to our lungs, which moves the fluid in the stomach to heat up the food, and it turns fluid to move to the earth to provide it nutrients. There is a story that is ran by animal instincts and sense pleasure that says life is suffering, only because one does not see their higher self or true self. They are controlled by the lower animal nature, which is fixated on what ego can gain or lose. When one fixes one's mind on what he lost to the world, that can bring feelings of regret, shame, and guilt. These can be overcome with radical self-acceptance and going with the flow of life. Project, specific plan or idea. Gestalt theory. Project, a specific plan or idea. A plan, a detailed proposal for doing or achieving something. An idea, a thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action. 2. The aim or purpose. Proposal, a plan or suggestion, especially a formal or written one, put forward for consideration or discussion by others. Specific, clearly defined or identified. Thought, an idea or opinion produced by thinking or occurring subtly in the mind. Action or process of thinking. Every human being has the potential to evolve past their current state of being. When one is fixed on the little story the human mind likes to create, it keeps one blind from progress. Everything we see in the world provides us with an opportunity to become a better version of oneself. When I started to focus on what I feel is my ideal mind, really prospers in the things that I feel, whether it be good or bad, because there's always that contrasting feeling, but with discernment rather than judgment. So say friends are drinking and you're trying to accomplish a goal and they offer it to you. It's up to the individual to discern what is a good choice to improvement or a negative one for the idea trying to be accomplished. There's a tendency in the mind to blame others when it did not have the self-discipline in order to enact what it felt was right within oneself. I love you.